We have some really good news to go over for Tesla stock here in this video. On top of that, we have a full breakdown and analysis on this week in the markets and what we can expect for Tesla stock. Tesla sold 84,159 China-made electric vehicles in August, a 9.3% rise from a year earlier. Sales of China-made Model 3 and Model Y cars rose 30.9% from a month earlier. So although Elon Musk said Q3 might be slow, you are seeing a big jump in deliveries from July to August. BYD, with its EVs and its hybrids, seen a jump of 57.7% year over year in deliveries. This should help calm down some of the fears of demand waning in China. This should be really good news for Tesla stock coming tomorrow. Estimated delivery wait times in China for Tesla's Model Y long range have increased to 6 to 8 weeks from 2 to 6 weeks. This is a good problem because people, they obviously have to wait longer to get their hands on their new Tesla, but this shows that there's really good demand right now for the whole product line of Tesla, or else you wouldn't be seeing wait times being pushed out 3 times on the short end, from 2 weeks on the shortest end to 6 weeks on the shortest end now. This looks like a really good problem for Tesla to have. After all, Tesla is currently delivering 1 million vehicles every 27 weeks. That's an average of 1 car every 16 seconds. So these wait times getting extended shows you have some really good demand for Teslas over in China. What can you say? China loves Tesla. The Cybertruck has been spotted for the first time with its air suspension fully lifted. Elon Musk said back in 2019, the Cybertruck will have a 16-inch ground clearance with the air suspension at max height. This would be industry-leading height, great for off-roading. According to Tesla Europe's Twitter page, or X page, Giga Berlin now has its own train shuttle capable of moving 400 people per ride, and this has officially launched. Giga Berlin has struggled to hire employees and keep employees. A lot of this does have to do with transportation. So this train shuttle, a very low investment for Tesla, should really help Tesla hire more workers and to keep more workers long term. This is great if you are a Tesla stock investor. This article from Teslarati back here in January was highlighting the problem that Tesla was facing at the time, and that was that Giga Berlin only had 8,500 employees. The target was 12,000. Tesla has now moved that target for hirees at Giga Berlin to upwards of 20,000. So this train shuttle should really help Tesla hire more and keep workers long term to help build out Giga Berlin. Tesla Chan on X is also reporting that Giga Shanghai is preparing to send new Model 3 Highlands to Europe, and to be prepared. We're still waiting on an announcement for the US. A lot of people believe that is going to be in Q4, but we're only getting these Model 3s as of now being produced out of Giga Shanghai. So you obviously have to fulfill for the demand in China, and it looks like Tesla is targeting Europe next, and then probably the largest market of all, the US, will come last. Tesla Chan is also reporting that Tesla has registered 673 Model Ys in Switzerland in the month of August. This represents a 15.7 BEV market share. The best-selling Model Y in Switzerland this year is 4,009 units, and this is of vehicles of all types. So the Model Y is dominating any other vehicle. Not just EVs, but internal combustion engines as well as hybrids. Tesla has also initiated a 0% financing interest rate on existing Model 3s that exist in the UK in September. This is to clean up the old Model 3s in stock, and the UK is also preparing to introduce the new Model 3. There's also a long-range rear-wheel drive that is in stock. Tesla China has also promoted green light alerts update through Weibo. Get that update OTA, listen to the alarm when the green light is on. Traffic light recognition is becoming more sophisticated. This is great to see FSD updates taking place in China as well. And finally, Tesla's China president, Wang Hao, says we expect to start building the mega factory for energy storage products in the near future, and the products will be mainly used for export. Remember, as a Tesla stock investor, Wall Street is essentially adding zero value to Tesla's energy and storage business, as well as solar business. They're just not valuing this part of Tesla's business. It's quite strange, considering the business continues to grow like wildfire. Last we knew, up over 200% year over year. In other EV news, not necessarily directed towards Tesla specifically, but also important, Lucid is teasing a new Air Midnight Dream Edition limited production model that will debut at the IAA Mobility Show in Munich on September 5th. What I find really interesting is the Lucid CEO Peter Rawlinson has topped the charts as the highest paid automotive CEO in 2022 at $379 million, higher than Elon Musk. As you know, Elon does not take a salary. He is paid based on Tesla's stock performance, which is ultimately the best way to run a business. But Lucid hasn't really done great. Mercedes-Benz says Europe likely won't be ready for all-electric sales by 2030. This is another interesting piece because Europe has some of the highest adoption rates for EVs. Some countries are already at 90% adoption rates for EVs. So I find this quite false. I think the bigger conclusion to point out is that Mercedes-Benz will not be ready for an all-electrical vehicle portfolio by 2030. This is a mock way of accepting defeat early from Mercedes-Benz. Volkswagen ID4 prices cut to $20,100 USD in China. Volkswagen is trying to do whatever they can to boost sales in China after recent reports suggest that Volkswagen is utterly failing in China. All of this good news over this weekend should be good for Tesla stock, but that's not always how things turn out, at least for Tesla. I think what is equally as important is the data and what happens to the broader markets, because that does affect Tesla stock. And as you guys know, we are coming off of last Friday's 5% drop on fears of compressing margins due to price cuts of FSD, as well as price cuts of the S and the X. But Tesla's latest poker move is really one that will increase margins. I don't know if Wall Street will realize this week, or if it will take a little bit more time, but eventually Wall Street will realize raising the price of the Model 3, cutting the price for the S and the X, and lowering the price of FSD, boosting take rates, ultimately has a net positive for margins. Today the markets are closed, at least here in the US, but there is still some economic data, like service PMI coming out of China. This will come out at 9:45 p.m. today, as well as the composite PMI. So it's one of those things where the markets over here in the US do not need to react to this data, but if we get a big move up or down, if things look like they are not going good, or maybe they are going good over in China now, that could move our markets. We are also going to get, which is highlighted in red as a major volatility event, At 12:30 p.m. tonight, Eastern Standard Time, the Australia interest rate decision. Now, Australia's interest rates are 4.1%, so lower than the US, and Australia has recently been on a longer kind of period of a pause. So if they decide to raise rates, which is not expected they will, that could be negative for our markets coming tomorrow. On Tuesday, so tomorrow at 10 a.m., you're going to get factory orders month over month for the month of July. You are expecting negative 2.5%. Last month's reading was positive 2.3%, so expecting quite a slowdown here. And also tomorrow at 10 a.m., you are going to get the IBD TIPP Economic Optimism Survey for the month of September. You're expecting 41.1. Last month's reading was 40.3. So you're expecting things to get a little bit more optimistic as far as the economy. And that data will be at 10 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, as well as factory orders. Excluding transportation for the month of July, you're expecting 0.1% month over month. And last month's reading was 0.2%, so a slight deceleration there. And then finally, GDP growth rate quarter over quarter tomorrow for Australia comes out at 9:30 p.m. On Wednesday, we're going to get the first round of bigger economic data, as you can see highlighted in red, at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The ISM Services PMI will be coming out. This is something the Fed watches closely, so I do think it will be a volatile event for our markets. We're expecting 52.5. Last month's reading was 52.7. So anything under 50 is contraction. Anything above 50 is expansion. So you're still expecting an expansion for the ISM Services PMI, but getting closer to 50 is great. If we were to fall under 50, that would be really good news for the markets. At the same time, you're going to get ISM Services Employment, ISM Services Business Activity, ISM Services Prices, ISM Service New Orders. This could also be important for the new orders specifically, as well as prices paid. Both of these are expected to fall marginally. On Thursday at 8:30 a.m., you are going to get initial jobless claims for the week of September 2nd. You're expecting 233,000. Last week's reading was 228,000. This tends to be more of a forward-looking data point for employment. So if you start to see an increase here, that's going to bring on a lot of fears of a recession, especially if you start to get closer to about 300,000 or even higher than that. That's where you start to get a little bit more fear about the economy. As long as we stay in the 200s, that is just fine. On Friday, you're going to get the unemployment rate for Canada. That comes out at 8:30 in the morning, expecting 5.6%, a slight increase from the prior reading of 5.5%. And then for the U.S. at 10 o'clock in the morning, you're going to get wholesale inventories month over month for July. You're expecting negative 0.1%. Last month's reading was negative 0.7%. And then finally on Friday, at 9:30 p.m., you're going to get the Chinese inflation rate. You're expecting 0.1% year over year. Last month's year over year reading was negative 0.3%. So that is deflationary. So you don't want to see deflation. So deflation's the worst possible outcome here. Anything positive would be good news for the Chinese economy. So based on the data lineup this week, we don't have much, so it could be a slower week, especially considering today is Labor Day. Happy Labor Day to all of you guys that are watching this video. But the rest of this week, probably not going to be all too exciting. Lots of people are still on that extended vacation. Let me know what you are doing for this Labor Day weekend down below in the comment section. But I should point out, we just entered a very weak seasonal period for the markets, which is August, September, and October. Specifically, September tends to be a pretty rough month for the markets. And what happened on the first day of September for Tesla? Tesla stock dropped 5%. So it's possible that we do see a weak week this week because, I mean, it's just seasonally a weak period and investors are still digesting some of those price cuts. Just keep in mind, The lower Tesla falls on this news, the bigger the ultimate bounce is going to be. And with less people in the office actually trading stocks, that tends to lead to less volumes in the markets, which can move stocks quite a bit. Tesla's stock on Friday, considering a 5% drop, you actually seen some very neutral option activity. You would expect to see a skew towards bearish positioning in options based on this 5% drop, but you actually seen a positive order value of 49%, 1,023 orders, totaling $496.4 million. So with all of this information being considered, it looks like Tesla's stock could move decent this week. We don't have any big economic data that is going to really crater the markets, at least in my personal opinion. I think we're just going to continue to digest the labor report that we got on Friday, which in the grand scope of things was not that great. The market sold off quite a bit from the highs that we seen in pre-market towards the end of the day. So if that selling does come back, well, Tesla would also be sold. And considering valuations for the broader markets are not exactly cheap, well, that's what we could expect this week, but I'm not expecting a big disaster week, although I'm not expecting a big rally this week as well. So that is all of the data and news you need to know for Tesla stock and the broader EV industry, as well as specifically what we can expect for this week with Tesla and any of the economic data. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. Let me know what you are doing on this Labor Day. My name is Michael Tyler. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.